the World Barista Champion competitor, number 23, Matthew Perger, Barista Champion of Australia!
Okay. Everyone's ready? Could I get the music to start, please?
Doing it right. Everybody will be dancing and be feeling it right. Everybody will be dancing and be doing it right. Everybody will be dancing and be feeling it right. Everybody will be
Time. Hello and welcome to Melbourne. 18 months ago, I came to the realization that the coffee I wanted to drink and serve, that perfect coffee that I come to work every day chasing, wasn't achievable with the methods and tools that I had available. So I decided that to move forward, I really had to go back by deconstructing every aspect of the way I make coffee. I forced myself to relearn everything with as much science and taste as possible, and with little concern for any rules or convention. Now, this process was honestly one of the best things that I've ever done, and the results of that journey are what I'm here to show you today. Now, we'll be moving fairly quickly all the way through till the end, and for my signature drink, I'll actually be asking the four of you to design and assemble it yourselves. But don't worry, everything you need is in these little booklets here, and you're more than welcome to take those with you afterwards. Okay? Let's begin. If there's one thing I've learnt from filter coffee, it's that an even grind size makes everything better. So I thought, why not try the same thing for espresso? Have a look at the right-hand page of those booklets. You'll see grinds from an espresso and a filter grinder. There's a massive difference between the two. And it's that unevenness from that espresso grinder side that was really holding back my coffee. Now, if you were to just make an espresso with that grinder there, I'm sure lots of people have, it's really quick, it lasts about 15 seconds and it tastes awful. So you really need to slow those shots down. Today, I'm using a tamping technique that's a little bit different to slow those shots down. It's called nutating, where I move the tamper around like this in the basket, and that pushes the grinds closer together and slows down the flow of espresso. Interestingly, my shots also started to taste a whole lot better as they cooled down. So I'm actually serving your espressos today in frozen espresso cups, and that's going to rapidly chill that espresso, bringing it down to around body temperature. It's going to make it taste a whole lot better than normal. Now, the only thing left was to find a coffee that would perform with such a revealing style of extraction. And if you'll turn to the next page in those booklets, you'll see information about that coffee there. It's a fully washed red Bourbon from Finca Santuario in the Cauca region of Colombia. Now, Camilo, the owner, grows more than 22 different cultivars, and his passion for quality is really outstanding. But for now, we're just going to focus on the flavor of the coffee. Okay, you're going to find a really silky mouthfeel, and that's accentuated by these cold cups. Then there's going to be a crisp malic acidity and a cherry cola sweetness. All those tasting notes are also on the right-hand page. Spoons in the tins, and have a turn into the next page of the book when you're ready. Thank you.
Big round of applause for the espressos.
Now, judges, sorry to interrupt. I think if we were all honest, we'd say that cappuccinos are probably the most difficult beverage of the three to get really excited about. So, I decided to take a really unique approach to the combination of milk and coffee. I started talking to my dairy farmer, Mark Peterson, about the effect of a cow's diet, on flavour. Now, after some experimentation, we started to get some really amazing results. By mixing in some different vegetation into the cow's diet the day before milking, we were able to go from that plain old sweet milk taste to something that's much more complex and pairs more intricately with the red bourbon. Now, I'm also giving you a sample of this steamed milk on the side, so you'll really be able to appreciate how it interacts with the coffee. If you could turn to the next page in those booklets, you'll find information about that cow and also the tasting notes of the espresso and the milk and how I like to think they all come together. There you are. Thank you. Now, the milk you're drinking is from a cow named Freckles. That's actually her name. Mark put her out onto a field the day before milking, and that really affected her digestive system, creating this really unique milk. It's raw, unhomogenized, and really delicious. It's also extremely fresh, which is why we're getting a few of those bubbles on the top of the cappuccino as well. Now, on the right-hand page there, it says a toffee, light caramel sweetness, and a subtle cherry acidity, but it's really the mouthfeel of these cappuccinos and that sort of super clean, weightless feeling in your mouth that makes them really amazing for me and makes cappuccinos interesting once again. There you are. Enjoy.
Big round of applause for the cappuccinos!
Attention to either of the large screens up on either side of the room. I'm actually going to have a camera directed at something that you may find a little bit disturbing. It's going to go in the right hand handle, this one here. Now, it may look weird, but jokes aside, it's actually one of the most exciting developments I've made since changing my techniques. We call it a coffee shot. Essentially, a filter strength espresso shot. Since changing techniques, I've discovered a whole new world of possibilities with an espresso machine. And I've been afforded so much more control than I've ever had before. Shot length or brew ratio is no longer a limitation, and I can create any strength of coffee beverage, from those shorter, stronger espressos all the way through to the longer, more dilute filter strength coffees. Now, to showcase this technique, I've chosen 3 different cultivars from Finca Santuario to be our signature drink ingredients today. I've roasted and extracted them very differently to accentuate their individual qualities. Then, I've passed them through paper filters here to remove the crema from the espresso machine, and we'll be adding them in different ways into the red Bourbon espresso sitting in that large glass there. Now, if you'll turn to the next page on those booklets, there's lots of information about these 3 ingredients there, so for now I'm just going to summarize what they are and how they affect the red Bourbon. So number 1 is a Bourbon, known for its rich sweetness. This roast is the most developed, and the shot was the length of about 2 traditional espressos. It's going to make the red Bourbon even richer and sweeter than it was before. Ingredient number 2 is Caturra. This one's all about a really nice dried fruit quality. The roast was halfway between filter and espresso, and the shot was about 5 traditional espressos in length. It's going to add a really unique dried fruit quality to the red Bourbon. And last but not least is Geisha. This one's all about those wonderful floral aromas. The roast was actually a filter roast, and the shot, as you saw on the screen, was exceptionally long, creating an espresso shot that's actually the strength of a filter coffee. It's going to lift the red Bourbon into that wonderful zone of florality we all know and love about geishas. And now, it's your turn. I'm going to let the 4 of you design and assemble the signature drink according to your palates. On the right-hand page there are 3 recipes, A, B, and C, each of those combining these ingredients in different ways. So once we're done here, I ask that you talk to each other and decide on the one recipe that you'd all like to taste together. Then, using these syringes, I ask that you put the prescribed amount of each ingredient into the red Bourbon espresso, give it a really good swirl, a deep smell, and take at least 2 long sips. Now, all of those instructions, tasting notes, recipes, and everything is on that page, so don't worry, it's all written down for you as well. I've always wanted to create a multi-varietal, espresso-only signature drink, but have never really been able to. Thanks to Camillo at Santuario and a whole new method for espresso, it's my pleasure to finally serve you my dream signature drink. Change may be scary, but I believe that chasing that perfect coffee is always worth the risk. Thank you so much. We've still got another minute for you to prepare that signature drink, so please go ahead, talk to each other, and I'll just be cleaning up my station. Thank you so much.
Big round of applause for the signature beverage!
Have fun, guys. Time.
World Barista Championship competitor number 23, Matthew Perger, Barista Champion of Australia! How did that feel?
That was great.
It looked good.
Thank you.
There was lots going on. Tell us a little bit more in depth, because you obviously not got the same time constraints of the signature beverage. What's the thinking behind it and the...
Behind the signature beverage?
Yes.
Well, now that we've sort of changed the way we make espresso, it's not just an espresso machine that makes shots anymore, it's now an espresso brewer. Yeah. And it's actually probably the best brewer that we have, because it's really consistent. It's much more consistent than a V60 with a human, and it's incredibly reliable. Everyone has them on their espresso bars, so I wanted to make a drink that showcased Santuario as a farm because it's absolutely wonderful, and showed off, I guess, this new sort of way of thinking about an espresso machine.
Fantastic, fantastic. So tell us a little bit about the coffee, kind of how you came about it, why you chose it. Was it down to the varietals or were there other factors?
We got a lot of coffees from Santuario. We work with them each year at St. Ali and Sensory Lab, and Camillo, who might be here soon, he sent us a whole lot of really yummy coffee from his very small varietal garden. And we sort of tasted through it, and we wanted to create a drink that was really exciting, but also showed off each level of extraction. So we wouldn't have chosen the geisha for the most dense, strong shot. We definitely wanted to use that for aromatics, and so on and so forth.
And talk me through the grinder. I guess that's the big elephant in the room.
Yes, big black elephant in the room.
Yes. Tell us, again, what's the thinking behind that?
Well, filter coffee tastes great at high extractions, and espresso doesn't. It's the same coffee and it's the same water, so why doesn't it taste as good? So we started with that, and then we had to change our techniques a little bit. We had to change the way we thought about it a little bit, but in the end, that grinder makes better espresso than any espresso grinder I've ever tried.
That sounds interesting and exciting.
Yes.
We all have the same conversations about grinders.
Yes, absolutely.
So no, that's
and
great.
They designed that grinder to produce an even particle size, so why not use it?
Well, indeed, indeed. So there's the old one. Is there anybody that you would like to thank? People who've helped you get to this point. You know, the team, family.
My family's up there in the hats.
Hello, Team Perger.
They've been lovely, and my girlfriend Melissa, everyone at St. Ali and Sensory Lab up there. It's there's a big team.
It is, and that's the thing behind all of these Barista competitions. There are always a big backroom team of people, from the producer through to the girlfriend, wife who doesn't see you very often.
Yes.
So,
and my coach Ben Kaminsky, who has seen me maybe too often recently.
So I think we can put our hands together once more for the World Barista Championship competitor number 23, Matthew Perger, Barista Champion of Australia.